But you have to remind me what it means, because I'm just not sure exactly what it means.
Well, whenever I ask my team what it means, they say it just sounds like his name, Hiddleston, but it actually means shaking forest, Dosan, which is better, I think, than, say, for example, Eddie Redmayne's, which is Xiao Qie Ban, which means little freckle. So I think this is...
Okay.
You,
he and I can compare notes on that when I get home. Very good. Well done.
So this isn't your first... 这是不是第一次Dosan在Shanghai? This is not your first time in Shanghai or in China. You've been here before.
Yes, it's my fourth time in China. I've been to Beijing twice, and then I came for the first time to Shanghai last year.
And you like it here?
Very much, yeah. I find it a really fascinating city. It's had a lot of energy. I can feel every time I come, and also it's a very ancient place as well as being a very modern place.
And why are you in Shanghai this time in particular? It's with Bafta this time.
With Bafta, yes. So I'm here to launch a scheme called Bafta Breakthrough China. There's a similar scheme in the UK called Bafta Breakthrough Brits, and it's so exciting that we're here in China, because the aim of the scheme is to select and celebrate and strengthen and support the next generation of filmmakers, television makers and games designers. What Breakthrough does so brilliantly is it finds individuals who are just at the beginning of their careers. Not necessarily young, they may have made one film or performed in one film or designed a game, but they're right at the beginning, and they've been, they could do with connections to the industry, to meet their heroes, to meet their mentors, to share ideas, to develop their own skills and the tools to continue to work, and then they become the leading lights of the future. And I get very inspired by that, because I was so lucky myself as a young actor to work with people I'd always looked up to, and to be able to watch them work and listen to them and hear how they approach the work. And it's extraordinary. Breakthrough Brits has been going since 2013, and close to 50% of the Breakthrough Brits have already been nominated for BAFTAs or have won BAFTAs. Tom Holland was a Breakthrough Brit, Spider-Man. Letitia Wright in Black Panther and Avengers was a Breakthrough Brit. So this weekend, we're here launching Breakthrough China, and there are 5 awards to be won by applicants here. So I'm really excited to see who the winners will be.
If you were looking for a winner out of that, what would are you looking for? Passion, for talent, for a combination? What are you looking for?
Those things certainly. Passion, talent, authenticity, skill. Again, there's such a range of things that can recommend an applicant. It might be in the tone of a film. It might be in a particular tenor of a performance, a truthfulness, perhaps. It's a hard thing to sort of single out. But if anyone was listening who was thinking of applying, I would say, I always find the best test is if it's authentic work, if it comes right from your heart, if it's something you've always dreamed about, and you're making something that feels very close to your heart.
谢谢。所以，如果你是一个制片人、导演、演员，还是那个游戏开发者，访问BAFTA.org， 相信这个非常好的一个新的一个项目。Thank you, Tom.
My pleasure.
One of the reasons.
We get a bit closer to you once I feel a bit far away.
I'm sure many of the audience would also like to be a lot closer. One of the things that the BAFTA Breakthrough does is bring people, as you said, authentic new voices out of China to meet with some of their heroes and people they admire in BAFTA in the UK industry. Why do you think at the moment, there's a lot of Chinese people who are really interested in British film and TV. What is it about British film and TV that you think makes it so attractive around the world?
That's a really good question. I think I wonder if it comes from the sort of historical tradition of storytelling that's embedded in British culture. There's such a huge the contribution of people like Shakespeare and the people who came after him, and all of his imitators and the people who revered him, even in the 20th century. Even if it was novelists like Dickens, there is an extraordinary literary heritage that actually the great dramatists of literature have just understood story. And in the early days of cinema, there were some great directors who I think lent on those literary antecedents, like David Lean or Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. And so I think in the UK we've always been quite proud of our history as storytellers. But I also believe that we live in a very global industry now, and there's no single way to present a piece of work. And more than ever I felt on my travels as an actor that every voice is worth hearing. And different directors will frame and shoot things in a different way, tell a different story from a different perspective, and actually the most exciting work comes out of collaboration. Different people with different skills on a film crew coming together to create something. I find that the most fascinating aspect of it.
Okay, that's great. And in your career, you've done a huge range of different things. So modern drama, film, TV, like The Night Manager, which is very popular here. Yeah, Ban Jingli. Also, my wife's personal favourite is Henry V, when you did the Hollow Crown, Kong Wan Guang. My son's personal favourite, of course, is Loki. He cried when you died in
I'm sorry.
Infinity War. He's pleased that you're coming back. And you're, at the moment, in Betrayal in a stage play. Yeah. Do you have a favourite medium, or you get something from all of those? And do you think there's something coming out at the moment in British film or TV or theatre that you would say is particularly, you'd recommend for Chinese audiences to go and see right now, something you're excited about?
Well, thank you, first of all. That's really kind of you to say that. I feel really fortunate that I've got to do such a range of different things. Because they all express a part of myself as an actor, I think. I've always had a huge admiration for Shakespeare. I think the demand on the actor is very profound, because the words are so beautifully constructed and complex that you have to honour them so they're comprehensible to the ear. But also he's dealing with very profound human feelings, which means you have to commit on an emotional level. And his character's always living in a physical extremity, so you have to physically embody them. So I call it, the physical is the body, the emotional is the heart, and the words are the head. So your head, heart and body are all working as one. Whereas in other aspects of performance, perhaps it's body and heart without the head so much, or head and heart without the body, depending on what's required. But what's happening at the moment, I mean, there's so much coming out of the UK. I stand in awe of my peers and other people working in the UK. I really think there's a lot of great stuff coming out. I loved Bodyguard recently on TV. Yeah. I don't know if that's been released on.
Has that been released here in China? Yes,
it has. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Paddington. Didn't I?
Yes.
Paddington Bear.
Yeah.
And there's Paddington 1 and Paddington 2.
Yeah. Paddington 2 is one of only 2 films with 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is that right? What's the first one?
The other one is Leave No Trace, which I don't know if you...
Which is excellent.
I love Leave No Trace. I cried at Leave No Trace.
Me too. Yeah, wow. We made a connection there. Yeah, beautiful film. Ben Foster.
Yes.
Deborah Granick,
Yeah, and a very extraordinary young New Zealand actress who was only 14 at the time. Amazing film. Right, anyway, sorry, we'd better get on to the fans' questions rather than me just talking about my favourite. So, Billy fans, these are questions that have been submitted in advance to you. Are you ready for them?
Yes, I am. Here we are.
This is an interesting question. Which do you prefer? We like you because of the characters you have played, or we like the characters you have created because we like you? It's a complicated question.
That's an amazing question.
Yeah.
Can you say it again?
Which do you prefer? We like you because of the characters you played, or we like the characters you created because we like you?
Wow.
I feel like this is the Sphinx.
It is a riddle, yeah. I think it's probably. I wonder if they're both the same. Actually, I wonder if, because it's a really good question. I sometimes think, and I say this to my family. I seem to have played lots of very different people. Henry V, Loki, Jonathan Pine, Adam in Only Lovers Left Alive, Coriolanus, Robert in Betrayal, and on the face of it, they're very different. But they must all somehow be part of me, or part of me must live within them. So I wonder if it's all the same, really. I wonder if they are different. They must be, I guess.
You've never played a really unlikable character, have you?
That's not for me to say. There might be people out there who go, I really didn't like that guy. That's really curious. I mean, I love creating characters because I think that's the thing I love about acting, truthfully, is I think within all of us is the possibility to be and do anything. And actually the choices you make determine your character. And so if you're playing a good character, then you're playing someone who's made good choices. If you're playing a bad character, you're playing someone who's made bad choices. But often the most complex characters make both good and bad choices. And they're motivated by very human characteristics. And some of them aren't always savoury. Loki, I think, is very vulnerable. In amongst all, he's a villain and everything, but he's jealous and he's in pain and he was adopted and all these things are kind of comprehensible, but he also makes some bad choices. And so that's what I look for, is I try to look for the humanity in every character.
Well, your performance of Loki was amazing. And I think when you're talking about how you can bring that in, the fact that Loki is almost in some ways like Edmund in the last scene of King Lear or something like that, with the redemption, is very difficult. And not many other people can bring that depth to a blockbuster film. So I think that's just amazing. No, anyway,
thank you.
Speaking of the Avengers, Stan Lee once described you as the nicest guy in the world, which is pretty good because he was around for a long time. What was it like working with Stan?
I mean, it all comes from him. It was such an honour to meet him because it's almost unthinkable now to think that back when he was publishing Marvel Comics, that these characters came from his imagination, and they have quite a profound impact on other people's imagination. And that's all these superheroes are, really. Each superhero he created came from something vulnerable about being alive. And so each character is trying to control their vulnerability. And he was a very, very generous man. The generosity of spirit was what really struck me, that here were all of these things he'd created. And a lesser man could have been very possessive and controlling, and he said, it's yours now. You must do with it what you're going to do. I think that says a lot about who he was.
Amazing. What 3 words would you use to describe Shanghai, in your opinion? I think you've used some already.
Yeah, the first one is energetic. I find this city has an extraordinary energy. Last year when I came, and this time too. I think it's very stylish. I think it's a very stylish city, and it's very elegant and warm. The people are very warm, I found.
And those are things that you look for, kind of energy, style, elegance, and warmth. And
elegance is great. It doesn't have elegance is
nice to have.
It's nice to have. It's not a requirement. The energy is great, though. I think a positive energy. You can feel it in people. You can feel it in a city, I think.
Next question. What kind of roles would you love in order to challenge you in the future? And I know you say you don't like to talk about specific roles, because but what kind of roles? And what's your next step after Betrayal, which is obviously fantastic. Would you ever try your hand at screenwriting or directing?
Oh, good. Okay, 3 questions in there.
First one, I apologise.
Right. So I think there are some, obviously I love Shakespeare, there are some Shakespearean characters who I'm just not old enough to play yet. So I hope I'm still around.
Is that a hint?
That I will play some of those elderly, those sort of more senior senior characters in his plays. And I've been acting for almost 20 years, and some of the things I've done, some of my favourite experiences have been surprises. It hadn't been something I've planned. I was in a production of Coriolanus at the Donmar Warehouse in 2013, and I'd never read Coriolanus at school. It's a very difficult play. It's quite complex. It's not one of the popular ones. And the director, Josie Rourke, asked me if I'd like to do it, and I read it, and we had a go. And it's still to this day one of the most meaningful experiences.
And the Donmar Warehouse is a very special place.
It's a very special place in London, yes.
Yeah.
Very small theatre. It used to be a banana ripening warehouse in the old fruit and veg market at Covent Garden, but has been running as a theatre about 35 years, yeah.
Great. Next question.
Hang on. So there were
three there. Sorry, oh my God, I've moved on.
So
what's your next step after Betrayal?
Next step after Betrayal.
And would you ever try your hand at screenwriting or directing?
Okay, so I'll answer that first. If I'm lucky enough, I would love to write and direct something one day. I'm so fascinated by the whole picture, and having worked on film sets for 17 years, I love it when I'm standing behind the director's shoulder and he's constructing the frame, because the frame is the thing, right? That's what we're all looking at, the box. I've learnt a lot from amazing directors, so I'd love to see if I could have a go. And then the next thing after Betrayal, which we've closed in London last week, there may be something before this, I'm not quite sure yet, but we are in earnest in pre-production on the Loki series for Disney+, which is very exciting.
My son will be very pleased to hear that.
Okay. yeah. It's it will be quite a surprise when it comes out. It's Loki as you've never seen him before, in a very exciting way.
You can't tell me if it's a prequel, a sequel.
I absolutely can't.
Oh. Fans here have been following your career. Many are asking about your new play in the West End, Betrayal. Fans want to know, will there be a screen version of Betrayal? I think probably not. And is it coming to China? Not immediately, I think you're saying, because you're moving on to Loki, aren't you?
Coming to China. The thing I'll say about the screen performance of Betrayal would have been wonderful if we could have filmed the production in some way, but it's to do with the rights of the play. So the Jamie Lloyd company, which is the production company who staged it, we just simply couldn't secure the film rights. So we had the rights to stage the play, but another company owns the rights to film it. So until those are released, we won't be able to do it.
Release them now.
But lots of there were lots of Chinese people in the audience. I met many of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had a million Chinese people visited the UK last year.
Wow.
And I think a lot of them go to London for the plays, etc.
Right,
and probably quite a large number of those go specifically to see you in a play. So thank you very much for doing that. Avengers and Marvel films have been massive here. Well, they've been massive everywhere around the world, to be honest. Has that kind of fundamentally changed just the size of them compared to everything else? Has that really changed your life and how you interact with the world?
It has been truly surprising, and I'm constantly amazed at how many people have seen the films, how many people love them. I auditioned for the first Thor film 10 years ago, and Marvel Studios had made one film previously to that, which was Iron Man, and I never would have expected that experience to grow into this extraordinary kind of global family. I really have enormous admiration and respect for Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito and Victoria Alonso and everyone at Marvel Studios who have continually tried to make the next film better, more fun, more entertaining, but also keeping this this sort of cross-referring culture of that there's Easter eggs and I think they've done something unprecedented.
I sort of, interestingly, to go from Thor Ragnarok, which was a kind of comic masterpiece, straight into Infinity War, where you die in the most horrific way in the first minute, to be able within a comic universe to have that transition, for it not to look odd, and for it to take you. It's just an amazing creation.
I take my hat off to them, because I think by that time, the audience knew that these characters could be absurd and comic, or very kind of serious and profound and tragic. That actually all these characters live in both worlds. So yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
How do you, well, if you have any, how do you usually spend your spare time? And can you recommend one book that you've read recently?
I love to read. That's that's very true. How do I spend my spare time? I tend to catch up with my friends and go for long walks. I like cooking, actually.
Oh, really?
I find it very... When I was younger, I found cooking very time-consuming, and was constantly waiting for everything to be ready. But now that I'm a bit older, I find it sort of quite relaxing, preparing everything and waiting for it to be ready. So I love doing that. And the last book I read...
Can you cook Chinese food?
I would have never attempted, and I'm sure would be very bad at it.
Sure you'd be very good.
I mean, yeah. Well,
you've learned Shanghainese in about 10 seconds.
So I can, learn how to do the duck dishes. What's the last book I read? Give me a second. Been reading Carlo Rovelli's book about time.
Okay.
I can't remember the title of it though.
On the library? Or am I getting mixed up with not the Time Traveller's Wife?
No, that's another one. Yeah. What did I read recently? I'm trying to think.
Well, there's a related question here, which is: have you read any Chinese literature or plays? I mean, not recently, but just ever. I guess it's.
I may have done, but not from memory. Is there a strong tradition of Chinese playwriting?
Yes. Yes, there is a very strong tradition of Chinese playwriting, but because of the language, I don't think it's as... So when, a couple of years ago, it was Shakespeare's death, or not his death, sorry, it was the anniversary of death, and it was the same time as the anniversary of a very famous Chinese playwright, Tang Xianzhu's death as well in the same year, and we did a lot of stuff together. But truth be told, many more people have heard of Hamlet than have heard of the Peony Pavilion, which was Tang's big work.
I see. Well, maybe worth a read.
Yeah. Well, we shall send you, if anyone has
please do.
A copy of the collected works of Tang Xianzhu, send them to me and I will forward them on to Tom. Great. Right, we're now moving on, I believe, to our next element, and this is true or false.
Okay. Here it comes.
And you have to answer truthfully.
Okay.
You run 5 miles a day.
That's false.
Is that false?
Yeah.
No, right.
I do run, and I run a lot, and I love it. But if I'm answering truthfully, 5 miles a day is probably a stretch. Yeah. But I try to run. Maybe I run 5 or 6 times a week. I might run 5 kilometres, not 5 miles, which is a little bit longer.
It's still pretty good considering everything else you're doing.
Okay.
There's a further question, which is it true that one of your favourite tracks to run to is Nicki Minaj Starships? Is this and why have you told anybody this?
This is news to me. I mean, I think it's false. Although I wouldn't object to it. I think it's a great track, and maybe once upon a time when it was released, it was a good summer number. Yeah.
It's interesting. There's probably this whole other Tom Hiddleston out there.
Yes,
which
living a
everybody
life,
would be
5 miles a day.
Exactly. Google it, and they'll find that you're doing all of these things.
Yeah. The running is true. The running is true. I've always run. It's strange. It started when I wanted to play rugby quite seriously when I was at school, and I wanted to get fit for the season. And I would start running towards the end of the summer, and it became a really meditative practice for me. And I started to, I sort of think a lot while I run and problem solve. And
so do you? Because I run a bit as well. Do you run? I prefer sometimes running without music because actually it allows you to think.
Yeah.
And particularly if you're somewhere like a forest, or do you run with or without music normally?
With or without, yeah. I love running outside.
Okay.
For me, it's good to sort of get out and feel the atmosphere.
True or false? You once asked Chris Hemsworth, Thor, to punch you in the face during filming?
That is true. Yeah.
What, there is an answer.
Yeah.
Why? I have to
Why?
ask.
It was during the filming of Avengers.
Yep.
The first one.
Yep.
Avengers, Marvel's The Avengers or Avengers Assemble, and we were doing the fight. I don't know if you remember, but there is a fight between Thor and Loki on Stark Tower. There's a sort
Yes,
of
of
terrace.
course I remember.
Yeah, and you know, it's all come to this head-to-head moment. Thor is obviously furious with Loki for coming down to Earth and doing all these terrible things. And there was a bit of hand-to-hand combat, and in the choreography, Thor had to punch Loki in the head. But I was wearing the helmet, and of course, in stage or screen combat, you don't actually throw punches. You sort of blow past the nose, and it's up to the person who's being punched to sell it. Yeah. And Joss Whedon, a director, was saying it didn't really look real. And the reason it didn't look real is because I couldn't snap my neck to create the right reaction. So I said to Chris, why don't you just hit me? Joss didn't know that though. And he asked for a witness. So the guy holding the camera was like, he's like, I heard him say it. You asked him to do it. And then he hit me really hard in the head and I went down. And Joss was deliriously happy. He thought it would look fantastic.
Did it hurt? Or did the helmet protect you?
No, the helmet protected me, but we got the shot in the end. Yeah, it was quite fun as well.
Just one take?
Just one take, yeah. I wouldn't have survived two.
True or false? You have a double first from Cambridge in classics, and I'll just explain. Classics 就是拉丁语和古代的希腊语. So, is this true?
That's true, I'm afraid.
That's very impressive.
I don't. Is it? Thank you.
Yes, it is very impressive.
Okay.
I know it's a very difficult course, and
I enjoyed it very much.
Did you specialise in Latin or Greek or both? Or
I did both for my. The reason it's in two parts is the course is in two parts. So, in the first part, I did everything, and in the second part, I actually did more Greek stuff. I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite amongst the Greek tragedians? Sophocles, Euripides, Aeschylus, or
Sophocles is I think is the most complex. Yeah. And
would you ever want to play one of the Greek?
I actually, while I was at Cambridge, I played Orestes in Sophocles' Electra in Greek.
In Greek?
In Greek, we did it in ancient Greek.
In ancient Greek. I mean, come on.
Which was kind of amazing because there's something about the Greek. You know, they're tragedies for a reason, and the emotions are very powerful and they're very strong. And actually, saying the exclamations of grief and suffering in this quite what's the word I'm looking for? A kind of it's a quite muscular dialect, and actually the sound of ancient Greek is much more kind of they feel much closer to the truth of the emotions than anything polite or English.
No. I'd like to talk, but I'm being told I can't keep asking you about ancient Greek and the Orestes. Okay. True or false? Your favourite music video is Fatboy Slim's "Weapon of Choice."
These are amazing questions. It's probably false, but I don't want to throw shade on Fatboy Slim or Christopher Walken.
It was amazing because you're a brilliant dancer as well, aren't you?
Not quite Christopher Walken.
We've seen you on YouTube. You are a brilliant.
Okay. But yeah, that's a great video. I struggle to, and my favourite video, there are so many good ones out there. Spice Girls Wannabe is a great one that comes to mind. Will Smith.
I didn't expect that.
Getting jiggy with it. I just draw a blank on all of them, really.
Well, that's two pretty good ones. Right, we've received, am I right? We've received some live comments, damn moot, from fans during the live stream. Can I have a look? Okay. Right. Okay, here we go. So, let's have a look. Okay. If you weren't an actor, what other career would you like to pursue?
Wow. I'm so lucky that I became an actor because I would probably be, I don't know what I'd be doing.
A multi-talented linguist who...
You know, recently I've been really fascinated. I don't know if I would have been qualified, but I've been fascinated by architecture.
Okay.
And
this is a great city for that, Shanghai.
Yeah. And so I'd love to have imagined being able to be an architect, but you have to be very good at maths. Isn't that right? Mathematics?
I don't think it is. Not with computers these days. I think you have to be quite good at maths.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that
an
would have been
architect,
interesting.
that would have been amazing.
Or a teacher. I think I would have loved. Put simply, I would have loved teaching.
Yeah.
The enthusiasm of sharing, interests with curious minds. I think I would have always enjoyed that.
Brilliant. Right, let's have a look. And another question here. This is an interesting question. If you, Shakespeare and Loki met each other, what kind of adventure would you like to go on?
It's just a great question. If myself, so definitely I'm in the equation.
Yes.
And Shakespeare and Loki.
Presumably you as Loki as well, rather than the real Loki.
The real Loki.
Yeah,
okay. The real Loki.
Okay.
Well, if the real Loki were in my company, he would just be hugely disappointed. I'd just get a whole raft of criticism about how misrepresented he is on.
That'd be quite a good sketch.
I think Shakespeare would be very intrigued by Loki. I think he'd recognize him in some way as a character from one of his plays. One of his great villains, Cassius from Julius Caesar, perhaps. Edmund, as you say, from Lear. I think we'd all really love a trip to Asgard, actually. And then we'd get to read. Shakespeare would write a great lost play about Asgard, and we'd get to sort of listen to these florid expressions of what Asgard was like.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah. This precious stone set in the silver sea of space.
You can quote Shakespeare at will. This isn't fair on. I'm not feeling good about myself sitting here, to be honest. Okay. Let's have a look. Another question. Okay, what's the biggest challenge you've ever faced in a role?
What's the biggest challenge I've ever faced? I suppose two, actually. Talking about Coriolanus, just doing it every night. We did something like 85 performances, and it was very physical and very angry. The play is really about democracy, but also about the corrosive anger of one man, that his anger eats him up from the inside. And the play doesn't really work unless the actor playing Coriolanus channels that anger. And I found that quite draining. Just anger is a very draining emotion.
Did your classical background help you with those understandings of those classical plays?
To some extent, although Coriolanus is set in a very early Rome. Yeah. I think Livy, the historian, writes about it. But it's almost a time between ancient Greece and ancient Rome. It's pre-Republic, pre-Empire. And really Italy at the time is a kind of, Rome is a city-state in other cities. Yeah, exactly. And then the other challenge was playing Hank Williams. Yeah. In I Saw the Light. I look back on that and realise it was quite a insane thing to take on, because he was so unwell, he was so physically frail, but also he had this gift. You know, he's regarded as one of the great 20th century American songwriters and singers, and I had to sing all those songs and learn to play them, and
that's amazing.
It was a bit of a shapeshift.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, I'll ask you the final question rather than. But I'd be very. Is there any advice you would give to one of our viewers who is about to visit the UK for the first time to go and study there? What should they do in the UK?
Oh, just try and experience as much as you can, as many different things as you can. Go to museums. Go to the park. Go to the parks of London, go to the South Bank, get out of London and see the countryside, go and see the coast.
Any particular part of the coast that you...
Cornwall's very beautiful, I think, and Wales is very beautiful. Yeah.
I'm Welsh, so well done. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Pembrokeshire, St David's is lovely.
Yeah. Northumberland,
lovely.
Yeah.
The Lake District.
Yeah.
Scotland. I'm half Scottish, so soft spot for that. Get involved. See as much as you can.
I've got to say Northern Ireland as well, for no particular reason, but you know.
Yes, indeed.
It's very beautiful, but I've never been. Right, now, some of your super fans here in China have put together their own montages, the best of Tom, would you like to take a look?
Do they get to see this as at the same time?
Yeah, I think this is playing right now.
That looks like a gun.
Wow, okay.
Which one?
That's High Rise. It's really good. That is amazing. Wow. Goodness me. Thank you very
like
much.
that?
I did. It's a very, it's really strange. It's like going back in time. Because I don't...
How many years does that cover that?
That's about 10 years. Some of the stuff in there is 10 years old. And it's funny because maybe it's just human nature that you're in the present and you're looking into the future. And I don't watch all that. I don't sit down and watch my...
Looking at that, was there any role that particularly you went, wow, I haven't seen that for a while, and it took you back into kind of that time? Or?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of High Rise in there, which I haven't seen or thought about in a long time.
I heard you go, wow, when that came on.
Yeah, and also there's some other footage that's been caught from magazine photo spreads. That's also kind of it's interesting to see those juxtaposed, and Hank as well. I again, looking at Hank Williams, I kind of can't believe I attempted it. It feels like a...
But there was never a time when you thought, I can't do this. You always knew that...
I wanted to try. Because music is a huge inspiration to me, and I think what's that quote? They say all art aspires to the condition of music. That music is somehow the highest art form. It has this capacity to move people in a really unique way. And here was an opportunity to make a film about a musician who moved people. But it was also about his incapacity to deal with the response to the music in a way that actually, the more successful as a musician he became, Hank Williams, the more lonely he felt in a way, that he felt a huge pressure to deliver this stuff. So I found that quite interesting.
Well, it's an amazing film. So if anyone has not seen it, please go and... Now, I've got some quick fire questions.
Here we go,
for
quick
you.
fire.
Quick fire. No hesitation.
Okay.
Here
it comes.
No, not even true or false. Tragedy or tragedy?
Impossible, both.
Films or plays?
Both.
E-book or paper book?
Paper book.
Heroes or villains? When you're saying that, everyone's a bit of both.
Everyone's a bit of both. Anti-heroes.
Opera or rock?
Rock, probably.
Football or tennis?
Oh dear. To play or to watch?
To play.
Tennis.
Swing or flamenco?
Swing.
Cambridge or Oxford?
God.
Because you went to Cambridge, but you were brought up
I lived in Oxford.
Yeah.
Oh God. Cambridge.
What? And we're stopping there. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Right. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Coffee.
Okay. What's the last thing you do before you sleep? Coffee.
No. I never sleep. Turn the lights out.
I can't believe I've got this. What's your secret talent? You can speak 18 different ancient languages, sing, dance, learn to play. What's your secret talent?
I play the spoons.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. What's the film that made you cry the most?
The Shawshank Redemption.
Okay. Mine's Paddington 2, so we've...
Paddington 2 is very emotional. Paddington 1 is like...
Paddington 1's scary, I had to walk out of that.
Okay.
What's
Mary Poppins also makes me cry.
The
first one. Yeah.
What's the film that made you laugh the most?
Oh God, there are some funny ones in there. a long time ago, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Good choice.
Or the Simpsons movie.
I've never seen that. Is it good?
It's very, very,
Okay.
very funny. Yeah.
What's your favourite food?
Roast chicken.
Getting very serious here. Do you believe in free will or destiny? Yes, with a change of pace there.
Okay. Free will.
What's the one thing you can't live without?
I've just thought of another film that made me laugh.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say it?
Yeah.
There's a German film called Tony Erdmann.
Okay.
It was at Cannes 3 years ago, and I watched it, and I literally was rolling around on the sofa like a sort of dead animal. I thought I was going to die from laughing.
That's what the funny thing. I was thinking this only the other day, that I think the Germans have a very developed sense of humour.
Yes.
But it's just slightly different and
Yeah.
quirky and comes from
Yeah.
a different place.
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting.
Tony Erdmann,
Erdmann.
and it's about a father and a daughter.
Okay. What's the one thing you can't live without?
Music.
Whiskey or gin?
Whiskey.
Or neither? Whiskey. Well, I'm sorry we've given you well,
Gin is at the appropriate time. Well, you can't survive British winters without whiskey, I think.
And you're half Scottish.
I am.
Yes, good. Right, I think this is. Have we wrapped up? Okay.
Oh no, we have a couple more things that I have to ask you.
What?
You didn't expect this, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Listen, I've been told that you're moving to your next role very, very soon.
Yes.
So where is your next post and what are you going to do there?
I am going to Beijing. I'm not moving very far, and I'm going to be in charge of all the innovative bits of the British economy: AI, 5G, life sciences, advanced manufacturing, electrical vehicles, all the things that we are, apart from our creative industries, that we're very, very good at.
That is amazing.
I'm not in charge of creative industries. I'm furious, but
You could be. You can be.
thank you.
Yeah.
I hope
don't
you
have
heard that,
I don't have
Ambassador.
the authority
I'm now in
to-
charge. Bafta says.
Okay. Bafta says. This is a good one. What's your favourite city in China?
That's a very difficult one because I'm about to move to Beijing and
Yeah.
I live in Shanghai. So I'm going to have to say somewhere else.
Else.
And I'm going to say Xiamen.
Okay.
It's not really, but I've got to say something.
You've got to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then this is really the most important question that's been asked all evening. Who is your favourite? Hugo, Dominic Cooper, or me?
You are. No, I think, yes, no, definitely.
tell
definitely.
Dominic.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell Dom Cooper when we get home. And also here's a lovely thing that we have for you. So there's a picture of
thank you very much indeed.
two brothers
I shall give
from
that
other
to-
mothers.
I shall give that. Honestly, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Isn't that nice?
That is absolutely lovely. Thank you. I shall give this. Well, I'll keep it, but I shall also show my son, and he will be very
He'll
pleased.
dig it out. How old's your son?
He's 7.
He's in the pocket.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
lovely. He's a lovely boy, and he loves the Avengers, and he loves Loki, so he'll be very pleased. So, Tom Hiddleston, a huge thanks for being here with us on Billy Billy, and thank you for coming here to promote Breakthrough
It's my
China,
pleasure.
which will give a lot of opportunity to Chinese people